welcome to episode whatever the fuck this is of the Valley Boys. I am.
All I do was ask if you were ready.
Host.
I wasn't recording yet.
All right.
I just asked if you were ready, and then you just started.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Go again.
Guys. Me?
Brandon, start it off.
All right. All right. This is the Valley Boys episode, whatever the fuck it is. I am your host today, Brandon Collins.
Yeah. Okay.
What?
Now keep
Jesus
going.
Christ. Yeah, my assistant Dave.
Hold
here.
your mic back, dude. It's so loud. Like you're deep throating it. Calm down.
Okay, a little excited. I can't.
Or take
help it.
video.
We actually, yeah. All right, and joining us today on the show, he is the Republican candidate for Congress in Missouri. Dave, shut up. In Missouri's first congressional district.
Gross.
Strong conservative.
Gross.
Jesus Christ. Anthony Rogers, thanks for joining us, and I am sorry about Dave.
It's okay. I forgive him.
You can't use what I say about you against me.
Actually, I did
Can't
it.
do that thing. I'm glad we agree that you can't do that.
Yeah, I just did it pretty well, actually. So, Anthony, thank you for joining us today. You've had quite a crazy few weeks with your campaign in Missouri. I'd say the biggest thing is you managed to do all this and become the Republican nominee running a campaign on just $28. Is that correct?
That is definitely true.
Yeah, so how did everything start? Did you just wake up one day and say, fuck it, like I can do this?
Well, actually, I just got really mad about being censored all the time, being told what I can do in the current state of the country and stuff. I'd much rather be smoking weed and playing video games, but I feel like it's like time to do something, kind of like change the world, because it's kind of sucking right now, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah. It definitely.
I agree that it sucks because of who the president is. Glad we all agree on that, all three of us.
You guys are like, I like sitting in my house like Anne Frank. It's actually fun. I love sitting in my house doing nothing. Freedom was over. It's boring. I was tired of being free, tired of having a free will, free soul,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It got boring.
So now, as far as the other side of the campaign, though, is a little bit more interesting too. The guy who was, I guess, supposedly going to be your opponent actually got upset back on the same night. He'd been in Congress for like 20 years. His dad, like 30 years before that, I think.
Yeah, we called him Lazy Gay. His name was Lacey Clay, and he lost a 20-year reign.
Sorry, what did you call him?
We call him Lazy Gay.
Lazy Gay?
Yeah, no, Lazy Clay.
Oh, Lazy Clay. Okay. Yeah, you got that Missouri accent. I couldn't tell with all the dogs barking in the background.
Yeah, we still have freedom here. It's weird.
Yeah,
you guys aren't hiding in your basement. You guys aren't hiding in your basement. I don't know what to do.
We don't have basements in California.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot. You have one-bedroom apartments.
Yes, two boxed in together.
Yeah. All right. So after 50 years, they finally get upset by, I guess you could say, more progressive candidate. Now, you definitely have an uphill climb in that particular district just because of the way it's made up. But I would say the fact that people went away from the Clays with Corey Bush as their candidate would definitely suggest they're ready for something different. Like how much of a dent do you think you could put into the vote there?
I think I'll probably win. I'll probably win by like 75% or something. Yeah, like 75% win probably.
75% win?
Yeah,
yes,
you're
sir.
Calling it right now. All right, we'll put you down for that.
All
right. Well, I the only reason I could believe that is because it is Missouri after all. Anything's possible. How far away from St. Louis are you?
I live in St. Louis, actually. I'm in the city of St. Louis. That's what First District, basically the city of St. Louis, and some in North County and some St. Louis County, basically.
Oh, okay.
But I'm in South City, basically.
Right. Okay. I've only been there once, and I wasn't in one of the good neighborhoods. Is that what you're trying to clean up? all of the crime you have in those red states? Riots?
Well, I feel like the crime's wildly exaggerated because it goes for like one per 1,000. They do like a stat rate or something like that. To where if you look at like Jacksonville, Florida, like New York City, or like a major city or something like that, any major city has more murders and crime here. It's just like wildly exaggerated because of like it's a statistical thing. It's more or less like per 1,000 people, there's more crime here than anywhere else. But like per like the rest of it, it's just like I mean, it's way better in New York City, LA, and those places like that, Chicago. It's like way better than any of those places as far as crime goes.
But don't people like steal moonshine? That's the big criminal racket there, right? You got those moonshine cartels.
I feel like that's more in the state itself. The state itself loves moonshine. The city's a little bit different animal, I'd say.
Now, what kind of animal would you describe that? Because I'm picturing like a toothless donkey.
No, I think a lot of people that again haven't been to St. Louis, I think they know about it. But I think it's a really good place. I mean, I think a lot of people call it flyovers. They have no knowledge of it or anything like that. But I think it's actually a great place. And I've been to LA, and it's way better in LA. You are or were a comedian? Yeah, I guess I was until we were all locked down and couldn't go anywhere. And they apparently Jack in the Box is more essential than my job was.
Right. Well, you could always go on Zoom and flash your dick around. That's how you got kicked out of the Zoom.
I was thinking about doing that, but yeah, Democrats love that.
It's only the Democrats. You guys are the ones hooking up on Grindr and in those bathroom stall meetings. You see that Republican coming in.
We lie about it, so it's different.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Dave's just out there in the streets of West Hollywood, sucking and fucking away. He's not even gay. He's just, I support you.
Hey, man, you gotta adapt to the place.
You guys are fun, man. Like just, I think it's a good time. Like, honestly, I think if any time in history that a Republican take that seat, it'd be right now. I think there hasn't been a Republican that seat since 1949, so it'd be an honor to take that in 2021. 117th Congress would be pretty dope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you going to donate your salary?
It depends, man. Like if there's a fucking cause, I mean, it just depends. Like if I see, I mean, I'm not going to probably spend any money really. I mean, I'm not going to take any money. So if I find a good cause, it just depends on what it is. I'm not going to give to charity where they just like pocket all the money and donate 20%. It just depends on what it is,
Right. Okay. Now, you say that you won with $28. What did you spend $28 on?
I bought a website, AnthonyRogers2020.com, and I bought some business cards.
And that's it.
Yep.
How many votes did you get?
Like close to 7,000.
Damn. Just with a website and business cards?
Yeah, just social media promo that's free, just like ranting on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and all that.
So like literally everything was grassroots. Did like the local news pick it up or anything at some point?
Yeah. They put up a cartoon picture of myself on the media. They asked for like an official campaign photo. I sent them a cartoon photo, and that was all over the news and still is.
Nice. So what's your first piece of business? You get to Washington day one. What do you want to get done?
Piss on Nancy Pelosi.
Yes, absolutely. I'm 100% on board with that.
Like you're gonna
maybe
figuratively piss on her, or you're gonna like Missouri piss on her?
Well, I think we light her on fire first and put her out with our urine. At least try,
Damn.
Yeah, that's a solid platform to stand on. I think most people can get behind that.
Why all the hate for Honest Nancy? I think she's called.
Honest Nancy. I don't know who called her that other than herself.
I think Trump did.
Well, did you see the story that came out about her today about like the hair salon?
I was more surprised that you guys have hair salons closed for 6 months in San Francisco. That annoyed me more than that. I was just like, you guys haven't had a hair salon? What do you guys do? You guys just like fucking cut your own hair now or something?
There are garage salons, my friend. Garage salons.
Sounds great. You're selling me hard in California right now.
Yeah. Gay rage salons.
It sounds wonderful. You're like, no, we're just homeless. We all just moved to Skid Row, and it's fine. And we just grown our hair out. It's a look. It's a look.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tent City and Skid Row. We're all in the tent city now.
Yeah, we'll give LA about another 6 months, and that's where we're all going to end up at anyhow. So it won't matter. But
but that sunshine's nice though.
I can't believe it's in Steel City. But that was weird when and then she went there. She makes these rules. We had to have mandatory masks and then doesn't abide by them. So she doesn't even believe in the narrative she's pushing, which is hilarious. I don't think she'll win the next election, honestly. I think like people are seeing through her bullshit, and like she's basically just the best fundraiser. She made like $80 million by May. I mean, take lobbyist money and pushes their agenda, And people are kind of tired of that. People like going outside. People like having freedom, People like enjoying their lives and not having to pretend they're scared all the time.
Right. Yeah, you would think that people would ask after her being in Congress for 33 years and nothing in their lives has gotten better, that they'd start to ask questions like, maybe she's not working for us after all. But
Most Democrat cities are like fucking third world countries by now, man. They turned America into a third world country in major cities at least. The suburbs and country are still doing well, but I mean, every major city the Democrat ran is kind of a trash can. I mean, people haven't noticed.
Well, it's what you were saying about the per capita rule, right? So if you drive through any big city, you're going to have a shitty area, like I did in St. Louis. I was in that dumpster area, and I'm not going to judge the whole city based on it. I kind of do, mostly because of the people from there. It seems like everyone that comes out of Missouri is like a human trash can. I don't know. That's just my experience. And you're the only person I met from there, so.
You're my first impression and you suck. I like that stance. I like that. Yeah. I like that. Most people just talk shit behind people's back like cowards. You just say it straight to me. I respect that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because my first impression of you was I thought you were Brandon. Like he has that same look that you do with the hair and the beard, you know? You're not into prostitutes like him, are you?
No, not anymore. I gave up on that. I've been in a relationship for about 5 years. I wouldn't roll out the prostitutes before that 5-year time frame.
Oh, wow.
What stopped you on the prostitutes? I'm just curious because I'm kind of on the fence these days for a few reasons.
I just got a girlfriend, really. I mean, if I didn't have a girlfriend, I would still be with that, probably.
Yeah, fair enough.
Now, what are they like in Missouri compared to California?
People or what?
No, the prostitutes.
Just as bad. I mean, just dope-head morons.
Brandon, what's your biggest complaint? He's a multi-state prostitute patron. What is your biggest complaint about California prostitutes?
They want too much and they're just dead fish in the sack.
Yeah, that's real.
And then I mean, he's told the story before, but let him know about what happened in Albuquerque.
Yeah, so I was with a hooker in Albuquerque and I ended up getting my fucking wallet stolen. It was the only time. Jeez, I know. Yeah, exactly. I do need a T-shirt for that. That'll be up on the Valley Boys website when we get our merchandise going. But it was the only fucking time. I met a prostitute in a car, and I stuck my wallet away in the glove box because I didn't fucking trust the prostitutes. Sure shit, she still fucking found it, man. Like I don't know if they have like a sixth sense or smell for money or what it is, but yeah. So, I got my entire fucking wallet taken while I was on vacation in Albuquerque.
Yeah, it's almost like they're thieves pretending to be prostitutes.
Yeah, in that fucking case, Jesus Christ.
You know what your first mistake was? Vacationing in Albuquerque. Who the fuck does that?
You and the gray aliens.
Yeah.
That place
At least it wasn't L.A. for a week.
Yeah, no shit.
I mean, where we're at in Reseda isn't too bad. Like Skid Row in downtown LA and all that shit, Hollywood. Like that's where all the fucked up people are. Like we don't have homeless people camping on our streets up here, but things are reasonably affordable up here too. So,
well,
and the old Reseda.
Sorry, what was that, Anthony?
No, I said that's good. At least it's not everywhere. At least there's some houses in California still.
Oh yeah, I mean, up here it's definitely more like working class. I'd say probably fairly conservative area. And yeah, amazingly, we don't have those problems nearly as bad up here.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's not a conservative area.
I said fairly.
I don't know. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But so you're going to goose step your way up and down. When you win, like that's your campaign slogan, right? Is lock her up. And by her, you mean Brandon's prostitute from Albuquerque. And
we'll get that bitch too. We'll get that bitch. We'll lock her up for sure.
Fuck yeah, man. It's nice to know friends in high places.
Like, yeah, you remember when you stole my wallet, bitch? Now I know a congressman I talked to on a Zoom call. Yeah.
What's your wildest story, Congressman? With prostitutes?
I think this podcast.
No, with a prostitute. We're only figurative hookers.
I don't know. When I was single, clearly, I have to clarify in case my fiance is listening. But in Vegas, I would just fucking before like Craigslist and all that shit was deleted. Craigslist had all this shit and like Backpages, all this shit. You basically get a prostitute like to blow you for like $20 in Vegas. That shit was hilarious.
And that's it. They didn't steal like another 20 from you or anything.
I'd beat the fuck out of a person trying to steal from me.
All right. Well, that should be your campaign slogan.
Yeah, vote for me or die.
Goose stepping around. What's your opinion on Alex Jones?
I think he's a fucking retard.
But you're a fan of Roger Stone, or he's a fan of you. That was kind of crazy to see. He endorsed you.
I like Roger Stone. Roger Stone's dope.
Were you happy that
endorsed me and backed me and stuff?
Were you happy he was exonerated or he had his sentence commuted? Whatever happened there, he didn't have to go to jail.
Yeah, I talked to him right after that. He definitely was happy, man. It's definitely good to be backed by somebody like a legend like that, man, and have some advice from him and stuff. I think it's pretty powerful. And he when I won, he called it the Stone effect because I didn't spend any money. That's what he called it. He goes, the candidate I endorsed in Missouri won with $28. It was the Stone effect. That's what he called it.
Nice. Oh yeah, he's like Dick Rivers trying to take credit for shit that he threw in a good word, but he didn't win you the election. You know,
he didn't spend the $28.
That's right.
So now that the contest is set for November, what's the campaign strategy looking like going up against Bush?
Basically, just make her embarrass herself publicly by like overexposure, and everybody sees she's kind of a retard, man. I mean, she's brags about being homeless and stuff. I mean, I don't know. Most people aren't into that.
So you've got a potential prostitute punching man on one side and a homeless woman on the other. What the fuck is going on in St. Louis? Like, you call California a shithole. Like, these are the two people that you guys put to the front.
Are you trying to say California's not a shithole?
I am definitely not. I'm definitely trying to say that. And I'm also saying that Missouri sounds a lot worse. I love California. I'm Canadian. I choose to be in this country, and I choose to be in California. This is the best place
from
on earth.
Canada, compared to Canada, LA is better.
What, Missouri or California?
No, I just mean in general. Like Canada's got 30 million people soon enough to live there. Like it's cold all the time. It's great. Like no economy, never been to space. We're a country. I promise. We're right above America. That's how I describe everybody. Like I'm from Canada. It's a country above America.
Man, that's awesome. That's how I describe people from Missouri too. It's like, hey, I'm from Missouri. Both of my parents are related to each other.
I wish, man. I'd probably get better presents. Like.
How old are you, Anthony?
16.
Okay, so you're the first potential teenage congressman.
Black congresswoman. I'm gonna be the first black congresswoman in that seat.
Oh shit!
Nice.
You're going that way. So would that work?
You're going that way. You go. That was so funny.
Well, I've seen comedians try that shit. It's like, they try to diversify some of the bills, and then you'll have some of the comics. We'll say, well, I identify as a black woman. Now, can I perform?
No, I do. Yeah, you have to. Oh my God. Wow. No, you have to sometimes, right? Sometimes you gotta be a black woman.
So that's the strategy you're gonna pull. You're gonna roll up and say that you are an African American woman. At least that's how you identify as, and that's how you're gonna win. People are gonna vote for you based on that.
Well, I think I'm going to win by getting most votes. I think anything else I say doesn't really matter because, the opponent's such a fucking idiot compared to me. So I could pretty much do anything and win.
You could do the old shoot someone on Fifth Avenue type of thing.
Yeah, or wherever, yeah. Why stop there? No, I'm just joking.
That'll be a good soundbite.
Yeah. Or you guys are the reason I don't win.
Yeah, you'll just blame us.
One time you're on that podcast. We heard you on my podcast, bro. We heard you say words. Words and fun have been banned for months, you fucking asshole. Don't you know that?
And see, that's the argument is where do you have a line within that? So hate speech, Brandon is all about that, because he's a Republican. He's all about listing out every single synonym he could think of for other races very publicly while he's goose-stepping around with his tinfoil hat chanting lock her up.
That's mainly just for Canadians at this point, just from having spent so much time around Dave. I've been trying to figure out how the fuck I can get him back to Canada. And the best theory I've come up with is just fucking duct tape him upside down to a moose that's drink a lot of water and send him fucking packing.
Sounds like you got a plan.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as soon as you get into Congress and we get more people like you, we can speed up this whole fucking process. So.
Yeah, stop taking forever to get all the Canadians back, right?
And it's specifically Canadians, huh? You just want to get rid of the Canadians.
Yeah, I like how the popular arguments Mexicans taking their job. They're like, Canadians are out of control. Send them back. It's hilarious. That's such a funny fucking concept. They're basically Americans without ego. I feel like Canadians. So they're very polite and they're just like, oh hi. And I'm like, wow, did someone say hi to me?
Yeah, it definitely doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, only Canadians say hi still.
That's right. What are some of your policies you're going to bring in? So you had mentioned, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but what's the first, like Brandon asked, day one, the first real policy you're going to bring in? Like, what's going to win you this election? What are you going to do if you win?
When I win, I think personally,
If you win.
From a personal standpoint, I'd like to decriminalize marijuana. I'd like to get rid of some business regulations to build up business in like St. Louis and other areas where it's not just like Amazon making like four companies making all the money in the United States. I'd like to put term limits on Congress, like stuff like that. But mostly, I can't really act on any of these things without getting my district behind me. So pretty much, it would be those are my personal things. But it would be mostly what my district wants. Like I'm in communication with most people here. I mean, I have like several ways of communication with them. So basically, I want to just know what the people want and serve them, more or less, is what I would say as far as my answer is. Like, it's not really up to me. I'm basically just a voice of people. Look at me.
Holy shit, that's a hell of a fucking concept. A representative actually representing the constituency. That's a first. It's groundbreaking, actually.
Yeah, it's weird. People like always kind of freak out. Everyone kind of asks me the same question, like, what are you going to do? Tell me about you. And it's like not even about me. It's like I'm a person that talks. I'm basically like what the communication department of this. Basically, like people have ideas. I fucking vocalize it, and then people do it. Basically, and like I have a hand in like legislation like that, but it's based all on my district. It's not like if I can't get them behind decriminalization of marijuana, I'm not going to push that. If I can't get them behind the ideas I told you, I can't push that, and I have to basically just serve the people.
Yeah, that's actually refreshing to hear.
I'll tell you why I think that'll work is because those are bipartisan efforts that are already happening. People on both sides of the aisle support decriminalizing, if not full legalizing marijuana. At this point, not many people are against it anymore. And the same thing with breaking up monopolies, you dirty socialist. If you
There's not a clean socialist. It's kind of redundant. I've never seen a clean socialist.
Like physically clean, like well, you don't have us on video. You can't see what's going on here. But yeah.
Well, I feel like most socialists are basically they're socialists because they benefit from the systems. They're losers basically. So like a winner would never be for socialism because like socialism only benefits losers, or at least like tells losers that it will benefit them. Whereas like capitalism benefits any individual that wants to work hard and wants to make a name for themselves or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like socialism would have limits, like less millionaires, stuff like that. Whereas capitalism would have millionaires if you work for it, poor people who bitch about it and don't do anything.
Okay, but the examples you're giving seem to be one extreme or the other. In America, we already employ a lot of socialist policies, public roads, fire department, public schools. But you get guys like. There's a difference between a socialist government and socialist policies. I mean, of course, Americans definitely taken like the best ideas from every country and made them one and called them capitalism. But like having a capitalist society is way better than socialism. As far as you want to eat food and like enjoy your life and stuff. You know what I mean? Like I mean, some basement dwelling 19-year-old would benefit from socialism because now they would make a paycheck rather than just like suck off their parents' teats. But like you would not have a Mark Cuban, you would not have a Bill Gates, you would not have a Steve Jobs in socialism because it limits that. Well, again, I agree, but that's also still taking it to a different extreme. When you get some of these people coming in and they say something like, we want public policy to also include post-secondary education and healthcare. And then everybody, they're labeled as socialists. Like all of their other policies reflect that. So I think it is possible to force everyone to pay their fair share of taxes. I'm not even saying put increases on put tax people in increments. I'm saying make everyone pay the same amount, but you have to pay it. There are no loopholes. That you have to pay that, and all of a sudden we'll have money for everything.
I agree with that. I think that should be in capitalism. I think basically everyone should pay taxes, and just because they're rich and know people and get right checks another way. I mean, Amazon's not paying taxes. All these people. I mean, we have a president saying he doesn't pay taxes. Everybody's saying this. I agree. I think definitely if you have to play the game, you have to play the game. You know what I mean? It's basically like rich people who. I mean, yeah, if we took money from the rich people and taxed them, we'd probably have way less problems. Like to be honest, that's where all of our problems probably stem from. Are basically taxing poor people.
Right, and so if everyone paid the same or whatever they would figure out is a fair share, yeah.
I go for like that. I'm personally against like property tax and income tax, and I'd like to find a way to wean America off that personally, so that we don't have to pay property tax or income tax. But I do think a fair share of like the roads are like fucking. I mean, I'm sure you've seen roads that are just fucking ridiculous. I mean, I want a refund for my taxes at this point because there's so many potholes on the roads and so much bullshit, and the schools are a joke. The schools are a C rating here, and that's very generous. And I think basically the tax dollars are not being accountable, and I'd like to see accountability for taxes first, like maybe like an app or something. They can put your social one too and see exactly where your tax dollars go. If you're like, hey, I'm Dave, I'm Brandon, I'm Matthew, whatever, and like you look up your stuff, and then basically shows where each dollar goes to. We need accountability, in my opinion, because there's no accountability. They're like, it's for the roads, but the roads suck. It's for the schools, but the schools suck. for this, but that sucks. You know what I mean? It's like there's a line in their pockets and lying to us.
So, okay, that last part, is that why you think why it's like that? There are too many pockets being lined?
I think 100%. I'd like to prove that, but I definitely think that 100%.
Okay, so they should employ strategies from other what they call quasi-socialist countries where the government is a lot more transparent and bigger companies have a harder time finding those tax loopholes, and everyone's paying their fair share. And then suddenly you have enough money for things like education and healthcare and, you know, who knows what else.
I'm not convinced we already don't have enough money, and I wasn't saying we should push like socialism. I just think that we should be accountable for the rules we already have and not just have rules that people break and like rich people can just break the rules for whatever reason. I think basically there needs to be accountability for taxes, and there needs to be accountability for these things. And then I'd like to get rid of taxes in some like income tax and personal property tax if we can, if I could wean it off of that, especially the criminalization of marijuana. That'd make a lot of tax dollars and revenue for my area. And I think that basically we can wean people off of that and basically just not have to do. I think the thing I hate about socialism is, I mean, it sounds great on paper. It's like, oh, free stuff, oh, everybody's cool, all this stuff, and then everybody starves to death. You know what I mean? It's just like it just sounds good on paper, but it's never worked. I mean, if it would have worked, I mean, Russia would be a fucking something to look at, or China would be something to look at. It's just like, I mean, none of these really. Socialism is an easy avenue for totalitarianism and stuff like that. It's like yeah, promise you, let's go to this great party, and you get there and you get shot or something. It's like basically just luring and bullshit, you know.
I understand what you're saying, but again, the examples you're providing are one extreme or the other. And when people use
it's like that though. I mean, I think I'm just saying accurate things. I mean, I think that I think it's just like that. I mean, most socialist countries are starving. There's not really a second place after America, and we're a capitalist society. I mean, I mean, like, what's second place? What's the second best country? I mean, no one can fucking name it because there's not one, you know?
Well, what are you using that to measure? Because it's definitely not like quality of life. It's definitely not. Do
you think other countries have better quality of life than America?
Absolutely. I think many other countries do.
I mean, I disagree, but I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, you know? I definitely disagree. I don't think most people have been to fucking space or have anything. I don't think Venezuela's even close. I don't think fucking, like, I could name 195 countries that are not better than America. I mean, that's why we're the best, like, by far.
Yeah, and that's fair, but you also have countries like Norway and Sweden and even Denmark and Canada where they do have a higher quality of life. And
well, Canada's owned by the Queen of England, basically. It's a constitutional monarchy. She owns the land. She's on your currency. You never fought for your freedom in Canada. So basically, it's owned by the Queen. You guys are basically cucks. I mean, like, you never fought for your revolution. Where America basically fought for the revolution, it's strides freer than everyone else. Until recently, until fucking March and April, we're strides freer than everybody else. And this is like, Canada's not even fucking second place, man. It's not even close. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even put in like the top 20 of countries. You know what I mean?
Right, we're not second place. We're first place.
By the Queen.
And you're the cuck.
Do what?
We are not owned by the Queen. We were given our independence because we asked for it.
No. The constitutional monarchy, she owns the land you're on. She basically look up landowner. She owns your land, basically. The Queen of England owns Canada's land, and you're a constitutional monarchy. You're basically like a colony of the Queen still because you never fought for your freedom. And well, not you personally, but your grandpa did, and his grandpa did, and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Basically, like, they didn't fight for the freedom. So basically, Canada's like, we like to do things like, but no, Canada's not a real country. Like, to me, really, it's just like they never went to space. They don't have an army. They don't really do anything. You know what I mean? They just, like, have a lot of confidence for some reason, but
never been to space. There's that notorious guy who I forget his name though, but he was famously tweeting from space and answering questions that people had all the time from space.
Well, I mean, you guys definitely went there decades after us. I mean, sure, but I'm saying, like, didn't lead the fucking race. We're going to fucking Mars. You guys are talking about being in space. You know what I mean? It's a drastically different fucking
thing. But I mean, like, is that how you measure happiness within a country? Is who's been to space first?
Well, I wasn't saying that. I was just saying better. I mean, like, happiness is subjective. I mean, fucking an ice cream cone makes some fucking idiots like happy, and other things make other people happy. Like, happiness is very subjective. It comes with inside. It does not come from the outside. Whereas basically, I'm talking about better. And I'm saying America is a lot better than Canada. I don't think anybody other than a Canadian would try to argue that. like everybody else clearly sees that.
Or a Californian.
I mean, other than 30 million people stupid enough to live in Canada, you know. Hey, you know what I mean? if it was a value, it would be northern Montana. You know what I mean? Like, straight up, you know, it'd be America if it was a value. We don't want that shit. It's fucking cold and rocky and fucking stupid, you know what I mean?
That's not even true. You guys have tried to take over Canada, and we burned down your White House. War of 1812.
Yeah. Well,
try that shit again.
So
whatever feels better about being Canadian, man. Whatever makes you feel better about being Canadian, I guess, man. Like, you know,
so when you get to Washington, would you consider proposing nuking Canada?
Nah, I don't hate them. I just think they're dumb, you know what I mean?
Okay, fair enough. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, like, I'm not about killing people.
Brandon is he was just talking about nuking the whales and shit yesterday, and also nuking Canada. What would be your let's say if you advanced into politics, do you have things that you would advocate for on foreign policy besides nuking Canada?
Yeah, I mean,
whatever?
it's a big question. It's case by case. I mean, it depends on the issue. I mean, a foreign issue could be like some guy in Mexico thinks you should do this. I mean, it depends on what he says. I mean, it depends on the issue, like what I would advocate for and what I wouldn't. You know.
I understand. So what about?
So yes and no. You know, it just depends on the issue. Like,
what do you feel about America always going to war?
I think it's dumb as fuck when it's going for resources, but I think it's smart whenever we had to stop the Nazis. Like my grandfather had to fucking kill all the Nazis. I think that was awesome. But I think we're fighting for oil and lithium and fucking like basically trying to support what is it called, imperialism. I think that's bullshit. I think the wars in the Middle East are dumb. I think bases everywhere are dumb. I mean, I think it's very aggressive, very stupid pushing the way on that. I think war is stupid unless it's in defense.
Fair enough. You know what you sound like? You sound more like a progressive than a Republican. And I'm not saying conservative.
Everybody got labels for shit. Everybody got labels for shit. I'm just a dude, man. I'm just a dude fucking trying to fucking save the world before everybody fucks it up on me.
That's pretty fucking solid platform. That should be the new party. Dude just trying to stop people from fucking shit up.
Yeah, I saw Republicans falling for it and they backed me. I'm like, sure, but whatever gets the fucking job done. You know what I mean? It's like I definitely like them more than Democrats, but I mean, as far as policy goes, and as far as like people go, I mean, outside of yourself, you seem like you have a sense of humor. So you're rare for a Democrat, I think. But I think most Democrats basically just like want to cry all the time and say insane shit. I think that's what makes everybody Republican. Like eventually, they just push them against the wall and they're like, okay, Democrats are fucking insane, like trying to fucking say insane shit all the time. I guess I'm Republican now.
No, hang on. I'm not going to disagree with that.
I mean, I was going to say, like, that definitely is what happened in 2016. Like, people were tired of, like, the fucking social justice warriors and, like, being canceled for speech and people getting fired from their fucking jobs because they said the wrong because they said the wrong fucking thing one time. And that is, like, and everyone wants to blame, like, Russia and everything else for Hillary losing. But, like, that was the biggest thing that pushed people to Trump.
Yeah, Trump almost had as many votes as Hillary. Almost.
Yeah, Russia couldn't do anything for themselves. So I doubt they could do anything in America. I mean, Russia's basically a fucking joke of a country. It's like ran by one dude who's basically like their mafia boss and fucking kills everybody that tries to get in his way. I mean, it's fucking the same as it ever was. It's some fucking cut culture trying to make a name for itself on a world stage, and everybody's just laughing because nobody cares about Russia. You know what I mean? It's like Kansas or something.
Or Missouri. I don't disagree with that, but I will point out that it's an indisputable fact, a bipartisan effort, I might add, that found that there was meddling in the election done by the Russian government. They spent millions and millions on Facebook ads, which I know sounds like a dumb thing, but it still influences dumb people. Like, you know better than anyone how fucking stupid everyone is. And when you see these bullshit news articles or whatever, and this crazy dumb editorial psycho shit, you're gonna buy into it. I have a friend who's very far right wing, like he's going off the deep end right wing, and he's got a tinfoil hat basically, and he shares shit that is pure bullshit. Like it's been proven over and over by any source you care to look at that it's simply not true, and he still pushes it as truth. And so when you have enough people doing that, you create this circle jerk effect where everyone starts buying into it, and that's what happened in 2016.
Well, I feel like the same thing with healthcare, because everyone's like, we need healthcare really bad, but really we just need affordable doctor visits and affordable medication. I mean, it's the same kind of thing. It's like everybody just says dumb things because they're frustrated and they don't have the answer. But the answer is always way simpler than fucking like paying a third party because you can't afford the first thing. You know, it's like, it's just dumb. Because everybody's a fucking retard, and they're all emotional, and they're all scared, and they're all acting stupid. But everybody has the potential to be fucking winners, and everybody has the potential to be awesome, and the potential to save the world, but they're not acting like it right now, to be honest.
Well, okay, so on that point about the healthcare thing, I don't disagree with that either. I don't feel that Medicare for all, in its theory, is going to work unless you start putting regulations on the industry itself, which goes against capitalism. But at the same time, it's saying you're not allowed to price gouge these certain medications and procedures and everything else. So that people can actually afford to have it.
Water and soda. That's like saying like socialists drink water, so do capitalists. I mean, it's like some things are in common, clearly. I mean, we'll have common ground with things. And I think that like, I think the Republican Party is definitely small government and doesn't want to jump in most things, but I think the big pharma has been robbing us forever. And basically, people are thinking that only healthcare is a solution to paying a third party rather than actually fixing the problem. It's like if your door busted and you're like, oh man, I can't afford to pay this door, so I'm gonna pay somebody else in payments to pay this door off. It's way too expensive rather than just fixing the actual problem. You know, it's like, that was a terrible metaphor, but the same kind of thing. You know, it's like they don't want to address the problem or actually fix the problem. They want to make more money off of it. So they're like, here's a problem, but we need money. Same thing with like the climate control thing. Like the world's getting hotter, guys. We need carbon tax. I'm like, wait, taxes cure global warming is just dumb. I mean, it's just fucking dumb. It's just like, it literally just doesn't make any sense. It's like only money cures the problems on the planet, apparently, and only for rich people. If rich people get the money, the problem's over, apparently. That's what they're saying. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Right, and you know why that is at least with the...
People are greedy and stupid.
Right, and these politicians that are in Congress take money from lobby groups that fund their election, and then they are in their pocket after. And that's something Trump addressed. He had a very good point when he was running. He said he directly addressed it and said these politicians are working for these corporations. They are not interested in you, and I'm going to change that. And that was the whole message. It was just a short little clip like that. And of course, that didn't end up happening. Nothing close came to that because he himself ended up taking donations and corporate donations, and you're an example that you don't need to do that. You speak for the people, and the people help you.
You just need more votes. That's the only thing you need. Everybody thinks they're so. I mean, I have advice from all these people telling me to take money all the time, man. Everybody knows how I'm going to do it or how to do it, but like they never did shit. You know what I mean? So it's like here's how you do it, but they've never done it, so it doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah, money doesn't matter. It's just an illusion. I mean, you definitely need to feed yourself and stuff like that, and it's definitely useful. But I mean, you don't need to be a millionaire to win. You don't need to be a millionaire to do anything. I encourage everyone to run for office and like do whatever they can. You know, I mean, not necessarily run for office, like whatever it is that your calling is. You know what I mean? That's
fair. And you got your calling at 16. That's very young.
Yeah, it just came to me at 16. Can't even drive yet.
Did you have to? Were you in class with Greta, and both of you just sort of dropped out to save the world?
We used to scissor until she became too famous for me.
God, you gotta hate when that happens, man. Someone
just got too cool
down
for
their
me,
nose at you.
Yeah, she started breaking all these news stories by. That's the thing too. I look for children for the answers. Like that's insane. It's like she's a script reader. You know, she's some random script reader. It's like, oh, I think this about stuff. It's like, okay, like cool. You think about stuff. Cool.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that either. I don't try. Like, I think it's great that kids are actively involved in social issues, but I'm not going to listen to you. Anytime you've ever been hungry, you've been able to say someone else has to do something about it, or they go to jail. Like, what the fuck do they know about life? You know?
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen the left definitely loves children, so I mean that's why they use her probably.
Jesus Christ. The old Pizzagate, huh? Is that where we're going?
Well, I mean, no one believes Pizzagate, but they definitely believed Epstein, right? So if you can't meet me on John Podesta with Pizzagate, I'm sure you can meet me on Epstein. You know, I mean, the high-ranking Democrats are all pedophiles. I mean, it's coming down. I wish I was the one. I wish I was the one making it. I wish I was the one saying it, but or one being like, "This is breaking news," but everybody just knows this, you know.
Yeah, he was really good friends with Donald Trump there for a while. But yeah, they probably didn't do anything
in
weird.
New York City. He took a lot of pictures at private events with Donald Trump, right? But he's also banned from Mar-a-Lago, and like all the Democrats went to his island, were in his flight log, have pictures on the island. I mean, Donald Trump has no pictures on the island, no pictures on the plane. All the Democrats do. They have a private. They try to latch that for sure, like what you just said, to make people like you say that. So look, there's a picture of him at a private event in New York City. Wow, they must be best friends. He took a publicity photo with somebody, but it's a lot different than fucking kids on an island and having that log and having that on video and having that all that shit. Like that's gonna be crazy when that comes out. Because basically the feds raided that building and Epstein was just taping everything. So, I mean, there's no fucking line when that comes out. It's gonna be fucking great. And I've seen songs with Ellen, all these people do this. Fuck, dude, it's fucked.
Well, I agree with whatever happened. Let the cards fall where they may, and punish every single one of them, regardless of their party affiliation. But it's not like
for sure. I'm just saying you'll be disappointed when you see a lot of Democrats. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, a lot of Democrats would be very disappointed, and that's another thing. While probably easily win this election, I imagine around September, October, November, this should be dropping pretty fast. It already is dropping, but we need evidence. We don't just sit here and say.
You're cutting out. Are you riding a motorcycle?
No, someone was riding a dirt bike past me.
Yeah, that sounds.
They get the motorcycle. Yeah, they gotta get somewhere, huh?
Sorry, continue.
No, I was just saying. I think it's crazy. I mean, it's fucking unfathomable shit. I mean. These people are fucked up. There's so many pictures of them in international waters on Epstein's island. Like Epstein basically did the same thing Hugh Hefner did. Hugh Hefner would basically have like celebrities over to his house and then tape them making out Playboy bunnies in the grotto basically, and then use it as leverage against them. Whereas like Epstein would do this stuff and tape it, but they were with minors and stuff like that. Like people like, I mean, famously Tom Hanks is probably the biggest name, and like Ellen, all these people like that. So I mean, that's crazy. But most people aren't ready for that until they see pictures and evidence and shit. Otherwise, it's just fucking words and talks cheap, you know.
I agree, and that's why like let's let the evidence come out, because if we're gonna use circumstantial evidence, Donald Trump himself said a lot of crazy shit that if the shoe were on the other foot, like if it was Bill Clinton who was quoted saying, "Oh yeah, he loves the women almost as much as I do, and he likes them even younger," you know, that's
right. I mean, But I could also be like, I'm a Unabomber, it's just words. Like, actions are way different than words. You know, it's like he likes younger girls, but he doesn't mean fucking 15. You know, he's not a Democrat.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
You're like, I like baby fucking. You're like, I stand by the baby fuckers. You're like, Trump's the baby fucker, not the baby fuckers.
I'm not saying that any of them are or are not baby fuckers. I'm saying that if we're going to label one with circumstantial evidence, we may as well label the rest of them with the same circumstantial evidence. That's all. I don't think
the left is circumstantial. I think saying Trump was like about Epstein was circumstantial because like I said, like public events photos versus like photos on the island and on the planes. You know what I mean? I think
okay, were there photos with them with the young kids? Were they putting them in the boxes or whatever?
Yeah, Prince Andrew, bro. Like he was first ostracized, man. Like all these people are going down, man. It was a lot of.
And Prince Andrew's a Democrat?
No, I was just saying it's world officials is what I said there in that case.
No. Yeah, but there was a photo that just came out. Like, what was it, a week ago, where like Bill Clinton's getting a shoulder massage from one of those girls. Like that photo just came out.
That's an old photo. Same girl that was with Epstein in those pictures too. It's an Epstein girl for sure. And she's like 15, 16, some shit like that.
Yeah, and like she's clearly giving Bill Clinton a shoulder massage.
Yeah, and there's way worse pictures. The thing is, like, they just don't. The problem with pushing this kind of thing, I think this would fuck up a lot of the world. So it's like they're trying to do it slower. I think personally, because I think it's the same thing with like aliens. They're like, you can't tell the public about aliens for like 40 years or some shit. Who are now sustaining the pedophile things. Like, I mean, to think of Tom Hanks like that or any of these people look up to would shatter the fucking world. You know?
Yeah, for sure. So,
are you just gonna stop at being a congressman? We had brushed on that earlier. Are you just going to see where the wind takes you, or do you have bigger aspirations than that? Which is already pretty big.
As far as I have plans of winning in November as a congressman, doing 2 terms, because I'm going to set the term limit as 2 terms. Basically, I think it's something most Americans are behind at least. And then I'm going to go for governor of Missouri, and then I'm going to go see where it takes me after that. But I got the next couple of years planned out. You know.
All right. Now I got to ask you, what do you think about the 2-party system?
As far as what?
Okay, so I feel like both parties are sort of breaking apart from each other. Trump loves talking about how the Republican Party is united, but there are still 2 very different Republican voters. You have people who are traditional conservatives, and then you have the more, we'll say, I don't know what label to put on it. We'll call it nationalists, because that's what they call it in Australia. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm saying you'll have nationalists and then traditional conservatives on the right, and on the left you have the establishment Democrats and more of the quote unquote socialists like the Sanders. So I think both parties should split into 2, and then we have 4 main parties, and then that sort of levels the playing field for everybody else. I think even the Green Party, even the Libertarians, whatever, then everyone's got a shot.
I don't necessarily think the problem is with parties. I think it's the problem with the people being hired not doing their jobs. So it's basically just like whenever people get hired, they become professional fundraisers, and they only just raise money and lie to people. They don't really do their job. So I think the problem mostly is like not doing their job. It would be if a Democrat did their job or something like that, it'd be no different than a Republican did their job. It's like just need to do their job. It's like it's just like no one's doing it at all. So it's basically just like that's why it's so stupid. And like more parties are cool. Yeah, if you want more parties, whatever. They just have to prove themselves and do shit like everyone else did. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the other problem too. Like trying to get people to see past that. Everyone right now it's fucking left versus right, and they can't acknowledge when there's corruption going on their own side. And they're like, oh no, if the fucking Republicans just stopped taking money from people, the shit would be fine. And then like going back to Nancy Pelosi and all those people, they're doing the exact same thing to get elected, and that's why they've stayed in Congress for decades on end, because they're not working for the fucking people, they're working for the corporations, and they have been.
So they are doing their job, but what their job is, that's the part that needs to be put into the spotlight. They are doing their job. They're being paid by corporations to shape public policy around their bottom line, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're not focusing on what people want and what people need, and these regulations do affect us. They affect our quality of life. They affect the environment. They affect everything, and that to me is a bipartisan issue. Both parties, no matter what your politics are, you don't want that, and yet we just accept it.
Yeah, most of America's broken up in that. I mean, imagine like Pepsi, Coke. I mean, because like the Sherman Antitrust Act that basically made it to where like there couldn't be one dominant corporation. There now is 2 dominant corporations. Instead of a monopoly, you have a duopoly. You know, it's like every field's got that. You have an Apple, Microsoft, Pepsi, Coke. You have like I don't know, the same thing, Burger King, McDonald's. You have 2 dominant companies in every field rather than one, basically. So, I mean, the Antitrust Act's kind of led to that. It's where, I mean, I think most issues are bipartisan issues, to be honest, but I think, like, people identify with what club kind of helps them the furthest more, I mean, or they agree with the most, I guess, in most cases.
Well, right, yeah. If you're in entertainment, you're in comedy, you're an actor, you're going to be a Democrat, and you're going to be putting shit out for Biden. That's how you fucking keep the paychecks coming, and you stay in the club.
For now, definitely, I definitely see that. 'Cause, like, I mean, we were talking about earlier. I think that if had I not been censored, had I not been dealing with all these things personally, I'd probably just be had there not been mandated quarantine and all these dumb shit things, I'd just be in a bar fucking telling fucking dick jokes, like selling T-shirts. You know what I mean? As a comedian, I'd much rather be doing that. But I think the world is fucking stupid and crazy, and it has people like us like actually talking about this rather than like whatever they're talking about before, like dumping ice water on themselves or arguing for dress color, whatever dumb fucking thing is in pop culture, you know? We're now actually talking about politics and how to save the fucking planet, regardless. I mean, if you're a Democrat or Republican, I at least respect the fact that you give a fuck about our country and you want to fucking solve the problems, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's like everyone's at the table now. And again, like, you know, whether you like Trump or not, you can at least thank him for bringing you to the table and making them aware of all the shit that's going on right now. And like, yeah, this is a perfect opportunity for people to make that change, like to get us away from, you know, the two-party political duopoly.
That's like saying you got to hit rock bottom before you can go back up.
And that's what
I mean, in a way, it's like fucking sad, but yeah, like that's what it is. People have been getting fucked over for years, and they didn't pay attention. They would go and vote for president every 4 years. Some motherfucker in a suit, you know, campaign promises they would only keep 10% of them after they got elected. And then for some reason, when Trump gets elected, now they realize, oh shit, there's corruption going on. Now, half the country only believes that there's corruption because of Donald Trump and that there's nothing else going on in Washington and the Democrats will save us. But anyone else who's been paying attention knows that everyone in Washington, for the most part, few exceptions, is corrupt as shit, not doing anything to help us and haven't been.
Anyone who takes campaign donations from major companies in the millions is corrupt as shit. So really, the only person that we can really trust is AOC. Glad we can all agree.
Jesus Christ.
Great bartender, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I just don't take her seriously at all as a person. But some people do, I guess. But I just think that like I think the left is so fucking delusional and out of touch because most of them are basically trauma survivors that haven't dealt with their trauma. Basically, like, most of them seem like they're like sexual abuse victims type thing, and that's the most common. But there's several other undealt with trauma basically, where they're unable to live in the real world. So they live in like a delusional world basically. It's where like they think everything's like just the way it's not. You know, it's like Republicans are very just like to this point. You know what I mean? It's like I'm like, okay, like what does 2 + 2 is 4 to me because I'm a Republican, whereas you'd be like fucking 7 to somebody just a delusional retard that basically like, you know what I mean? Like that's how I feel basically. I feel like most of them people are not in reality. It's where like the left appeals to people that aren't in reality and don't understand the real world at all.
Kind of a broad statement. So 2 + 2 = 4. I agree with that. When someone says 2 + 2 = 7 because it identifies as 7, it's no skin off my back if somebody wants to think it's 7 because that's their personal belief. To me, it's no different than someone saying I'm a Christian or I'm a Jew or I'm a Muslim. I don't give a shit what they are or believe, and I'll respect them for that.
I think people are allowed to be stupid. I think people are allowed to be stupid, and we're allowed to say they're stupid. They took away our ability to say that they're stupid. You know what I mean, it's just like it's the same thing if you like when like culture basically is like don't say fag or retard, and then everyone turned into a fag and a retard basically. You know what I mean? It's just like retarded. Everybody's like we take away these words that we supposedly cannot say, but I just said them like 5 times. But I'm just saying like we supposedly say we can't say these words, and the culture reflects that. You know what I mean? and then you'll have somebody like, well, my uncle's gay. And I'm like, I don't mean a gay person or a homosexual person. I've never once called a faggot, or I've never once like be like, hey, you're a faggot to a homosexual person. I call my friends that. I call people that are acting retarded that way. You know, I never meant retarded as mentally handicapped. I meant it as you're being dumb and retarded. You know, it's like, and people just like don't grasp context and don't understand anything. They want to cry and just be like, oh my God, he said faggot and retard 35 times in this interview. I must know him and he must be a bigot or something, rather than understanding context or using their brain. They're incapable of using their brain, so they just cry all the time and say insane shit and want to cater to the weakest person in the room because the strong people are just ignoring them, basically. I mean, like that's what happened all this stuff. They're like, there's 3,000 genders now. It's like, oh my God, are you fucking retarded? They're like, did you say retarded? I'm like, that's what offends you? The word retarded offends you more than you saying there's 5,000 genders? It's like one day we'll come back to like being smart and having heroes and fucking doing dope shit. But right now we're in a crybaby symphony, basically. And we'll get out of that soon.
Well, as soon as we get rid of all the retards, yeah.
I'm not agreeing with anything that you said for the record, but I will say that if somebody thinks that there's 5,000 genders, I don't care. I don't care if they think there's 5,000 genders.
They're allowed to say that. They're allowed to say that, and we're allowed to be like, that's retarded. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. You know, it's like free speech. It's like they're allowed to be wrong. I don't care. Like
Well,
being
that's
wrong
the
is
circle of free speech. And then the where free speech hits the wall is when people do the cancel thing over it. It's like, well, okay, I disagree with what you're saying, so I'm going to put real world consequences into your life. And when the mob comes for you,
cancel culture.
and I'm not talking about people that have done something wrong. I'm not talking about rapists or none of that shit. I'm talking about someone that said the wrong thing and someone took it out of context, something harmless like that meant no harm to anyone and didn't hurt anyone except for someone's feelings who elected themselves to represent a different group of people that doesn't even affect them. They'll go after them in their personal life, and corporations and businesses listen to these mobs because they don't want it to reflect their company online or in public or whatever. So that's where the problem, that's where I think that's where everything gets fucked up.
100% agree. It's cuck culture. I mean, it's basically just like the screaming, like fucking retards, like that have nothing to say or fucking being the loudest right now. Like all the kids we made fun of in high school are mad that we made fun of in high school and just trying to ostracize us. Basically, is what I feel like. I feel like it's like they're like, we want equality, and then they get equality, and then they just want more, and they just want to cry and scream and be retarded. This is like so annoying, dude. It's like can you just fucking, I don't know, enjoy a steak or something? Like, Jesus, man. Like, there's got to be some silver lining somewhere in someone's life where they can do more than just cry all the time and affect other people's lives and jobs.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you, Anthony, because over this last hour, I think we may have actually turned the corner of converting Dave to being a conservative now.
I am not. I'm only speaking ill of my own people because I'm scared of my own group of people with this cancel
he said he hates
shit.
white people. He's still liberal.
And I don't know. I will say that I thought it was a hoax. Like, I thought it was just a blatant fake news lie that one of the speakers from the DNC was a convicted murderer and torturer of an old man, and she served her time and then became and I thought that was fake. I was like, that can't be true. That's simply
no. It sounds bullshit. It sounds bullshit. You're right. No, it sounds too far fetched.
Why would they do that? My own people, like, why? Why would people in the mind days?
I think it's the same people in the mine days that are torturing people and children and stuff like that and killing them on the public stage. It's the same thing. They took it to the basement, but then or the island in this case. But they basically, electronics have definitely proven it all. During mine times, we didn't have cell phones to tape all this shit. We didn't have testimonials, and we're pulling children out of these. I mean, every day there's a new story of finding 30 kids that were being sex trafficked, man. It's a fucking huge issue. And it sounds insane. It sounds fucking insane. I wish this was a joke, and I wish that I was wrong and this was not happening, but it is, It's I wish this wasn't a problem. I wish that I was playing video games and I wish I was just smoking weed, playing Fortnite, talking about how I'm doing comedy instead of fucking talking about politics, to be honest with you. But it pushed me to this point. It pushed us all to this point where even you guys are talking about politics. It pushed, because we'd be in bands or something, or comedians or something, and we'd be doing other things.
No, I'm 100% on board with you, man. I honestly, I hate politics. I hate discussing them, but unfortunately, right now, you can't be sitting on the sidelines. You can't
right now. The world's crazy. We got to stand up for our fucking country and save it and make it the best we can. I mean, we got to fix this fucking country that our grandparents did, and our grandparents be the Nazis, or my grandparents be the Nazis, or whatever. I don't know what generation everybody's in, but I feel like we have to be those people that step up again and be like, what the fuck is going on? I'd much rather be having fun with my life, but it's it just got to a point where I have to do something.
No, I agree, but I also don't agree with blaming pedophilia on the Democrats. And I'm not saying that's what you did, but it seems like only the Democrats are the ones being publicly held to the fire on this.
I don't think you or the voters are like that per se, but I think definitely. I mean, John Podesta, Jeffrey Epstein, all these people are definitely tied to it. I mean, they're all end up being high-ranking members of the DNC, high-ranking members of the Clinton Foundation. I mean, Clinton Foundation's smuggling kids from Haiti and stuff. Oprah's schools are stealing kids from Africa. And she's a Democrat. I mean, it's not like I want to be like, oh man, it's the Democrats' fault, but I mean, everyone that's being caught is a Democrat. So it just happens to be something that coexists and co-lives,
And that's a funny thing about shit like that. I remember 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when you would hear guys like Rush Limbaugh talking about it, and everyone just kind of scoffed, like, oh, look at those fucking conservatives, the Republicans and their fucking crazy conspiracy theories. Now here we are in 2020, and that all this shit's coming to light, and it's like, well, it's not a conspiracy anymore. This shit's actually happening.
No, same with Chinese slave labor and Asian slave labor. I think the same thing. I've been saying that for 10 years, and people have been like calling me insane and stuff like that. When I'm like, I'd be like, you're mad about the N-word, but you're not mad about wearing clothes made by children slaves all the time. You're mad about the transatlantic slave trade, but you're not mad about every other slave trade. And like, it's just now coming to light. Like Senator Hawley out of Missouri, he's going after these companies for fucking. He's trying to charge them $500 million for using slave labor. Like any company that makes over $500 million and uses slave labor, they're trying to tax them $500 million. So all this stuff that like the pedophilia, the fucking Asian slave trade, all this stuff like that used to be like, oh, that's so crazy because like. In America, that seems crazy because we're in such a good area. It just seems insane that people could be so fucking evil. Like, you know, it just seems insane.
Yeah, and then
think it's the best country in the world.
It is the best country in the world, and there's not a second best.
So, yeah, yeah, and the corporations don't represent the entirety of America, like you were saying a couple minutes ago. As far as like, you know, the voters and all that, like the people of this country represent what's best about America. I mean, there's going to be corruption everywhere, unfortunately, but that's why it's the job of the voters right now to get out there and fucking fight it. Like, you know, take the country.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, take the country back. But yeah, and they're like,
we're trying to get the violence out of the streets and fucking just settle the problems. Like, even people are starting. This is the beginning of a second civil war if we don't stop this, and then a second civil war leads to a third world war if we don't fucking stop this. In my opinion, because basically left versus right turns into China and Russia invading us. In my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's worse than it's ever been. Like on the political divide, and especially with violence out in the streets now, like it's definitely getting to a tipping point.
We got to stop this, man. We got to be the ones who fucking stand up and be like, dude, this is America. Chill the fuck out. Eat some pancakes, motherfucker. Pancakes are delicious. Stop punching people. You know, I was like, Jesus.
I don't disagree with that, and I think maybe the first person who needs to learn that is the president. He is very divisive, and I'm not talking shit about Trump like I always do. I'm not doing that in this specific example. I'm saying that he, as the leader, should be the first one to try and find unity with us.
Well, I think he is, and that's why people are mad. I think if you tell on a bunch of Democrats they're pedophiles, I think they're definitely going to use their money and influence on the media and the protests and stuff to try and change things. They wasted a bunch of money in impeachment. They wasted a bunch of money in the Russian, whatever the fuck they try to call that. And then they're still like just dumping resources that can feed the fucking hungry and house the homeless on fucking being mad at Donald Trump. I think people are mad at Donald Trump because he's over the fucking target. You know what I mean? He's over the fucking target. He's pulling these children out of fucking underground, all these different fucking places that were being sex trafficked. And
you're crediting Trump for that?
Do what?
You're crediting Trump for that?
Yes, for sure. Look at the amount of sex trafficking arrests this year compared. Just this 1 year, he's arrested more people than any other president. Man, like this is definitely going down during this administration.
Directly because of policy that he enacted or changed.
Yes, and his people. Yes, the whole squad, homie. The whole squad's doing it.
Well, I got to admit, I'm uneducated on that front, so I will have to look into that.
Well, that's what
but if he did, good for him. I'm not going to be one of those people that says fuck Trump over every single little thing. If he did that, that's great.
Yeah, also he's a person, and I'm not saying he's infallible. I'm just saying like he does a lot of good things. But I think and in my opinion, I think the scrutiny of the media has helped him become a better president. Because imagine waking up in the morning and everybody hating you. What are you going to do? Try to make them like you? I mean, I think Trump would be a shitty president if everybody loved him. In my opinion, I think the fact that he has to keep fighting for the poor and fighting for our country and saving this shit makes it to where he's a good president.
Well, and he wasn't the ones that stoked any of this violence. He wasn't out there like telling people to go ahead and fucking burn down buildings and shit, beat people unconscious in the streets.
Well, it was there wasn't like a solar flare that happened and then everyone said, okay, go. It was, this is decades, centuries of pent up, it's emotions and fear. And this is a reaction out of that. This is what you're describing. Isn't Trump wouldn't have an influence on that one way or the other, but he's certainly not helping it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Trump's been around.
He's the one.
Yeah, Trump's been around for 3 years. Like he hasn't been. If this shit's gone down decades, which I agree it has, this has absolutely nothing to do with Donald Trump. And honestly, he hasn't gone out there. Like he's not encouraging fucking people to go out and fight in the streets or fight Democrats or anything like that. I could see your point if he was actually like instructing people to go commit violence, but he's not. That I just don't buy into that argument.
No, he's trying to get Democrat mayors and Democrat governors to fucking do their job and fucking like keep the streets clean and stop these fucking like stop paying protesters to do these things. Most of these protesters are fucking paid, man. This is obvious. People are getting caught on videotape, being paid. They're getting caught on videotapes, like putting rocks there before the protest. These are all fucking micromanaged protests. I mean, they're hiring protesters. I can see the websites at some point on Twitter or something like that. Like, there's protesters for hire websites, and that's what they're doing basically. This is pretty much They would not televise a revolution. They would not televise a revolution.
No, but but thankfully now, like the average ordinary citizen who is in these places, like I don't know if you remember news coverage around the time the riots started, but there were people in these different cities, and they were like downtown Dallas, where there was like Neiman Marcus and all these shopping districts and shit, and black dudes down there like videoing, and there's a pallet of fucking bricks just sitting on the sidewalk. There's no road cones, there's no road construction going on, just a pallet of fucking bricks sitting there. Happened to be there at the same time protests are going on and shit like that. And this was legitimately like a peaceful protester and shit. And he's like saying to the camera, he's like, "No, motherfucker, you ain't gonna get us. Yeah, we ain't gonna be, if you see bricks going through windows, that shit is not us."
No, exactly. And I think that definitely discredits the movement as well. I think there's a lot of frustrated people that actually care about the actual cause brought up. And I think equality is a great reason to get passionate about. But I think the way they're doing it is staged, and it's also basically just to make the country look weak. They put us in quarantine to ruin the economy. They do all these things to make Trump look bad. That's what they want. They want to collapse the economy where it looks like a failure, but they did that. They collapsed the 14th Amendment basically makes it to where you can use a medical dictatorship under the ruse of public safety, because that's what they're doing. They're changing rules every fucking day over some dumb shit that doesn't exist. I'm not saying COVID does not exist. I'm saying it's wildly blown out of proportion, and it is being used to basically stifle us, to sit us at home, to do many other things, to ruin the economy, to where we get broke and stuff. And then they're going to use like socialism as the answer, like, oh, you don't have any money? Well, here, we'll just give you free money, like the stimulus and all this dumb shit like that. Because they created like the biggest problem with COVID-19, in my opinion, is shutting down the economy. That has killed more people, made more people suicidal, made more people depend on drugs, and ruined more people's lives than a fucking virus.
Yeah, and my personal stance on it at this point is the same that it was like 3 months ago. It's like, let's go ahead and quarantine like the elderly, the immunocompromised, the infirm, and shit like that. And then anyone else who wants to go out and live their life as normal, like you're free to quarantine if you want, but if you want to go out and live life as normal, like that's where I think we should be at with the virus
Liberty.
At this point.
It's liberty. It's a choice, for sure. It's a choice. If you want to wear a mask, do it. If you don't, then don't. If you want to sit in your basement or like house like Anne Frank and hide for fucking months and years, do it. But it's like, I feel like for me, I'd rather just live my life and have a good life. and like if say this is true and I will die from a virus in 4 months or something like that, I would rather live happy than scared.
Well, yeah, we've already lost over, like a week ago, news report I heard said we've already lost over 5,600 businesses in LA permanently closed down since this all started.
Amazon, Facebook, all companies are making record profits. Yeah, no, they're killing small business and making, like I said, Amazon, Google, Facebook, all these things are making record profits. And it's insane. It's insulting. It's fucking insulting.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree with you.
We gotta wrap this up. We are out of time. If you're still listening to all the liberals out there, they're the ones yelling at me the most, I'm sure, at their dashboard or in their headphones.
Like, wipe your eyes and play it back. Repeat this episode.
Yeah,
play it again.
Thanks a lot, Anthony, for having us on. I really do wish you luck in your endeavors.
You guys too.
I think we could definitely agree. One of the first things, get rid of money out of politics. That's it. First.
That's what I'm about, for sure. I need you there for sure.
All right. And real quick, Anthony, before we take off, where can people find you online?
Look me up on OnlyFans or my Snapchat Premium.
Will do.
But he's 16, so watch out there, Republicans.
Yeah, Democrats only.
Yeah. All right, Anthony. Thank you very much, man. This has been a blast for sure, man. Well, definitely one of my favorite episodes.
I love your show.
Science bless you too.